Commissioners, ready?
Yep, turning my phone off.
All right.
Is your phone on silent?
Thank you. Phone's on silent.
Good deal. Now, let's go.
Silent. Got it.
Good deal.
All right. This time, we'll call to order the commission meeting for Tuesday, July 28th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Mayor Faulkner,
Here.
Commissioner Hendricks,
Here.
Vice Mayor Maples,
Here.
Commissioner Golden,
Here.
Commissioner Kendall.
Here.
At this time, we'll have the invocation. Pastor Randy, the priest, the First Assembly of God. All please stand, if able, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Amen. Well, it's good to see you all again. It's been a little while. And thank Melissa for the reminder. I didn't check my email, or at least the spam folder, so I had it on my calendar, so I always look forward to being with you and being with the city leaders. And interesting thing happens. I often get a message for a congregation at least 2 or 3 times a week, and especially on Sundays. But today, as soon as she reminded me I was supposed to be here, I had about 3 hours of driving to do. And so for the last 3 hours, there's a word that's been coming to me that says forgiveness. And so if you're a Christian in the room, you understand how valuable it is to be forgiven. But also, we need to understand how valuable it is to be the one who forgives, because it actually frees us to where we can work together again. We can forget about the misspoken things, the things that were spoken behind curtains that shouldn't have been spoken, the things that were misconceived or misunderstood, and it frees us so we can work together again. If you've ever been on a sports team and you made an error or a fumble, and the coach, the good coach you thought that was there for the best of everybody, never gave you another chance. So I encourage you today to consider how important it is to forgive. The Heavenly Father reminds us, as we forgive one another, He is able to forgive us our trespasses and our sins. Lord, today, as we stand here together in this assembly, that you would, we thank you for your forgiveness, God. Without your forgiveness, no one will spend eternity with you. But with forgiveness, everything changes. Our lives can get back on track. We can reconcile on earth with one another, and we can fulfill the plans that you have for us. Thank you for these ones that are set aside for this faithful service and this astute opportunities to make our community better, make our city better and stronger, and for this and the next generations. God, thank you for what they do and how they toil and they work together. But may we be quick to forgive so we can move on to do our best. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. And thank you, Pastor Randy. All right, this time, review of the agenda. Any additions, deletions, corrections? None. All right, moving on. Next on the agenda, consent agenda, items 1 through 4. Any questions, comments, issues?
I have some on number 4.
All right.
I don't know who to ask, but how did we pick Overlook Drive to do the match?
I believe this is the second time we've submitted this. Is that right? So over the last 2 years, we have done several work sessions with commissioners identifying streets and locations. And so we're just moving forward off of those plans. And then When was the last time we brought this to commission, Amber or Jim?
It was in the spring.
This spring?
It was this spring.
Yeah, so we had already applied for this one this spring. This commission all approved that. Well, it ultimately got approved. I don't remember what the votes were, but we didn't get it. And so we're just rinsing and repeating for this particular one.
Okay, because I know there's several streets around town more centralized with more residents, that we should, I would ask to start being looked at too.
Yeah.
Including, Overlook. I know Overlook's horrible, but along with the other 50 streets as well.
Yeah, end of the day, there are more streets than grant funds available. We do evaluate streets based on the current condition, the amount of use that it receives, location of town goes with that. So those things are absolutely all considered. And oftentimes I think we find that you could probably easily pick 3 or 4 or 5 streets that are all equal. And so ultimately that was chosen by staff because of discussions with commissioners in the past. And we'll continue to have those street conversations, and commissioners will be able to help give that direction of which ones we should choose.
We had those discussions in 2024, and Overlook rose somewhat to the top because of the condition and the amount of traffic and the fact it's a thoroughfare for that area of town.
Well, and it didn't really come to the top because we haven't touched it. We've had a lot of streets done, but it was definitely high on the list. But you've seen around the hospital, you've seen all the projects that we've done. Those are the ones that made it. But absolutely, what the ones you're seeing us go to were next on the list. And I think, in fact, probably at least 2 commissioners wanted Overlook to be the highest on that list in those discussions. And so we'll continue to have those.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't need repaired. I drive down it
Yeah,
too at times.
there's a lot
but
that needs to repair.
Yeah, there's a lot of roads that need repaired, and some that's more centralized are really bad too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I move to approve items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples to approve items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye. All right, next on the agenda, comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Is there anyone present who would like to make a comment? Mr. Kessler.
Marcus Cashler, 502 Overlook. I want to thank you for putting Overlook on it, at least considering it and trying to get it done. I would love to see it widened where they could actually have shoulders, but that's probably a huge ask. But it is a main vein throughout the city. I want to first address budget sessions. It is coming up, but I mainly want to address you newer commissioners. I don't want you to feel rushed or coerced into agreeing with a budget you don't agree with, or you think there can be some changes in. Sometimes we're pressured because you don't know enough because it's not your first time. But look, do research, go to different cities and look up their payrolls and see how much they pay people, see what they have. A lot of heat is on the Montgomery County Council because of the way they spend. I want to remind you that you are given responsibility of doing the same thing, so I hope you look at that as well. Secondly, on your Facebook, city saying they stated how much it is to equip a firefighter and a PD officer. I think there are some discrepancies in that of, I like to understand, I try to understand, is the PD radios were 1,000 and the FD radios were 7,000. There are a lot of firefighters, and 7,000 apiece sounds like a lot. I have found digging that someone went today and asked this very question, and they were told that they are the exact same radios that the PD uses, but that they hope to get $7,000 radios for the fire and stuff. I understand that. That's not a problem. To me, in my opinion, that is forecasting something that you haven't bought yet, that has not been approved yet. I think it would be a good idea to let the public know that that happened. Also, there are some police uniform stuff is also they're bought by the police officers themselves, and I don't think it's fair to add that as well. That's just my opinion. You could take it for what it is, but I think you should relook at that and re-say, hey, this is what's really going on, just for the case of transparency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? There being none, we'll move on to their public hearings, special presentations, proclamations, and there are none. There is no old business, so moving on to new business. First on the agenda, Resolution R-26-83, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a construction contract with Heck and Wicker for the 8th Street KDOT Cost Share Program. Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
That's exactly what I'm here to do, is ask you to award the contract to Heck and Wickert, who was the lowest and responsible bidder that we had at the bid opening we had on the 17th.
Ready to get it going.
I have, you said the bid was opened on the 17th of July,
That is correct.
and today's the 28th. Is that enough time to get enough bids?
You're talking between the 17th and today, or when we first advertised? We opened the bids on the 17th.
Okay,
So we're bringing you the recommendation today.
okay. We,
Meaning they were all submitted, we opened them to read them.
Yeah.
This is a-
How
How long-
many total were submitted?
There were 2 bids.
2 bids.
And this was from 8th Street, 8th and Klein to 8th and Luart?
No,
Or
it's
am I
from,
misreading that? Because I could be misreading it.
it was from the Highway 166 and 8th Street to Elm.
so from the far west side of town to
All the way through.
all the way through to
It's about a
Elm.
2-mile.
Yeah, how long is that exactly?
I can't answer that question. I'm, taking a guess, we're talking about 1.6 miles, I think. So,
A nice stretch.
And to clarify, this is a 1-inch mill or 2-inch mill?
it'll
And
be an
then-
overlay from 166 to approximately Luark Street. It will just be an overlay that will be milled out where the concrete intersections are and the concrete cross streets. They'll be milled out to match that. But it would just be an overlay to the Luark. And then from Luark, approximately Luark all the way to Elm, it will be a 2-inch mill and overlay with curb and gutter.
Estimated completion time?
I cannot tell you the number of working days. I didn't write that down, but the start date, we have no idea till after we award the contract and have a meeting with the contractor. So that's what we're here to do tonight, is have you award the bid, and then we'll visit with the contractor. So I think the early start date was October 1st, and late start day will be May 1st of '27.
So at this point, we have no estimate on how long 8th Street's going to be torn up.
Well, it won't be tore up the whole length the whole way. They'll probably mill the whole thing all at once, and then they'll probably overlay it all at once, which just guessing, the mill will probably take 2 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to get it milled out. To overlay it will probably take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but the curb and gutter, which is going to take an extremely long time.
What about school routes in front of the high school parking, high school parking lot?
Won't be any problem with that because they'll be in, during the milling time, they'll probably be in front of the high school probably a day, maybe at the most. Just be diverting traffic around where their machinery is at the current time. Overlay shouldn't take any more than a couple days to put it back. But the curb and gutter is what's going to take the longest. So that's why we gave an early start date of October 1st. So in case they wanted to get started during those months, putting curb and gutter back, because you can only asphalt when it's 45 degrees and rising. If it's lower than 45 degrees or it's dropping, you cannot lay asphalt.
Jim, you and I have talked about this several months ago in reference to some of the businesses on 8th Street and their worry of being shut down for hours, weeks, months, things like that. Are you still standing by what we spoke about, that at worst case scenario?
Just like on the water line, I think everyone panicked, and the water line, I see no one was shut down, no one's been without water, so I think this will be real similar to that. Now, as far as the businesses, if you want to get with me and let me know which businesses, I can tell you whether or not their interest will be totally shut down for a period of time or not.
Okay.
So when they have a concrete entrance and there's only one entrance, yes, it will be shut down when it's being put back. But if they have multiple entrances, no, it will not be.
By saying shut down, are we talking hours, weeks, days, months?
A few days.
A few days.
They will have to work, the contractor will have to work with the business owners to arrange other entrances or other situations for them to be accessed.
For deliveries and for customers?
Correct.
Thank you. And I'll get with you afterwards and go over those with you.
Yeah.
Part of this, as we've done before, and I think the most recent, what do we call it? Open house, I think we call it. We went to the hospital, all the streets we were going to do did an open house. We actually had 35 people show up. The next time we did that, we did not have very many people show up here, but we'll do the same thing. So once we've got the start date from the contractor, we've got maps and detour routes and suggested from the engineer and timing, and people will be able to come in. We'll generally give them a notice of when that period is. They can come in, talk with the engineer about the project, talk to Jim, Thomas, or I, and have all those details in person themselves as well. That will be available.
Are there any areas on the, say from the west side of town to Luark, that need to be repaired or shaved down a little bit before we do an overlay to level it out? And there's known places that seem to buckle every year into a bump, and
I think we went through there once already here a few months ago and ground those down, those humps. So I've talked to them and asked them to get that done before November again. So yeah, we will. You're talking probably majority of those are west of Klein, I believe.
mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, we've addressed those once, and we know that was the first time we'd used that machine that we have, and they did all right, but we can do better.
I'm a little concerned about an overlay, as we've done in other areas of town, that it raises the street level enough, and we know we don't have curb and gutter on 8th Street, and then you're going to have a drop off. Are we going to add dirt along the sides to even that out, or not have a drop off?
Yes. We can do that.
Because that drop off could go in some areas. It's a pretty deep ditch.
It'll still be a deep ditch if we do that.
But
I'm
just
still there.
I'm thinking of, say around the Thompson Brothers and roller skating rink area, that some of those, there's driveways that have been, right up to the road, and now they're going to have a drop off.
Well, no,
into
that's the
those.
part that I mentioned earlier. All the concrete driveways, concrete intersections, they will mill down where those butt up against each other. So there will be a 2-inch overlay, but they'll mill it down so that 2 inches will come in flush with the existing concrete.
Okay.
All right.
One quick other part of it, Jim, does when they're doing the curbs and the gutters, are they also going to be making those intersections ADA compliant?
Where they're required, yes.
Thank you.
I have another question. So when we approved the project that's going on now for the water relocation on 8th, did we pay for overlay in that as well?
No.
In
no.
that we didn't, it was just to replace and not fill back
That-
in the
that's-
holes or damage or nothing?
Well, that's part of their contract, is any damage they create, they will put back when they replace the water line.
All right, because I know there's a lot of gravel there, but I thought, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we had paid for some kind of overlay then too.
No, sir.
Okay. All
But
right,
we,
thank you.
but we did pay to repair it to the point that it's good to be overlaid
That
when
is
that
correct.
time comes,
That is correct.
which is now.
So, which would be a good thing, all those spots in the middle of the road where it's tore up, we can go back in and compact those really good and hard and tight, because in the previous, when we made a repair of a water line, we repaired a water line that was, 2 foot below, 3 foot below the surface. You can't compact that very well. So that's why we let time and traffic compact that slowly, so we wouldn't have a sinkhole there. That's kind of our process of how we do those. But with the water line not being in service anymore, they can compact that extremely well and then put asphalt in or concrete, wherever the case may be, what they've tore up.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
All right then, I move to approve Resolution R-26-83 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve Resolution R-26-83 as presented. Commissioner Golden,
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall,
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner,
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Next is Resolution R-26-84, a resolution authorizing improvements to the city public water supply system and providing for the payment of the costs thereof. Director of Finance Martin Cummings will make comments.
Good evening, Commissioners. How are we doing this evening?
Great, thank you.
Good deal. We are actually going to go through two different resolutions here back to back. They're both related. The second one is predicated on this resolution. So the second one is going to be deal with the authority for us to go and do a bond issuance. Okay. But in order to do that, we have to have authorization to engage in the general scope of the project that bond is going to go and fund. And so this initial resolution, you guys will be providing us that authority to engage in those improvements at large. Okay. For reference, and I think this is probably good for everyone to know, we are looking at, in terms of bond proceeds, so this is going to be a $9 million bond. The total bond is a little over that because we wrap in the financing costs into the bond, okay? But of the $9 million, approximately $6 million will be dedicated to water upgrading, high grading the current water treatment plant. I believe it was the last commission meeting, we got the report back that we are good to make, to go in and do high grades to the existing plant. We got the engineering report back that the structure should stand and should be good for some time to come. So we're hoping 20 to 30 years out. Okay. And then $1 million of that is going to go towards capital equipment expenses, specifically to outfit a new water line crew with excavation and boring and all the other kinds of tools. And don't even quote me on exactly what they are. Mr. Wright here is the subject matter expert on what all that's supposed to be. I think he is, right? Okay. Anyway, but that $1 million will outfit this new water line crew that we will be hiring on starting in 2027. And they will have a dedicated job repairing and replacing the existing infrastructure of the city. That's their thing. And so this will that'll provide them with the capital equipment needed for all of that, a budget to procure all that. And then the other 20 million, bite my tongue. The other $2 million will be dedicated towards a couple of things. It'll be the actual parts and materials to get us started on those line replacements, and it'll also help us capitalize, which right now is ultimately a blank check. We're not really sure what it's going to be, the new lead line initiative that is being mandated by the federal government. That is an unfunded mandate, and so this is going to help us cover costs of studies, put our proposal together. There is a kind of a scary unknown there, at least scary to me as a finance director, what's really going to be involved in that. And so this will provide us some working capital to help out in positioning ourselves to have this plan to address these potential lead lines, which I say potential because we're not sure where they exist and where and what we would need to go do about replacing those. So in total, that would be $9 million.
Marty, I just want to quickly
Go ahead.
add to that.
God bless you.
This is essentially that money to get us going on those projects. The water rates increases that Commission already approved are what continues to sustain those over time, because that's not a $9 million doesn't give us 20 years of water line replacements or 5 to 7 years of lead line replacements. That's those water rates then come in behind this. This is that cash needed to get things going.
Yes, and that is fair. So in the exhibits, you will see the pre-issuance report. Pre-issuance report does offer you a preliminary amortization schedule for the bond service. Based on that, when we go into work sessions tomorrow, begin our first work session tomorrow for budget, you have a chance to go and review all that. It's based on those numbers that we have set out the debt schedule for this bond issuance in our budget. Okay. The increased rates will accommodate the debt service on that. That's going to ongo for 20 years. Okay. And that's how this is set up. Now we have applied for a GO rating of A+ with the S&P. We just did our preliminary phone call with them. Basically, we send them a bunch of questions, then they get on a call with us and kind of grill me for answers. They were pretty nice about it, actually. But the idea there is then within the next week or two, we should be getting some kind of feedback from them to let us know what our actual rating will be. That rating will be kind of the final thing they need to determine what we're able to go and get from the market on bond rates. So there could be some last minute changes to this preliminary issuance report. So we will, of course, there will be other action and other opportunities for us to have this conversation in this public forum at that point. So any questions?
Explain a bond versus a loan to me.
Pretty simple. Loan is just a general concept where I go to somebody else, borrow money from them, and I repay it on some terms that I agree with them. A bond is a little more specific in that it is, for the municipal context, is something that it's a debt offering that we take to the public market. Now, we don't, our financial advisor does through a brokerage, and everybody buys a piece of that debt. And rather than it being like a home loan where you would pay an amortization schedule where you're paying off a little bit of you pay some interest and you pay off a little bit of the principal at a time, works a little bit differently. What we're doing is we're actually issuing a bunch of mini loans out. We're offering up these opportunity to get mini loans from different public buyers. Every year we'll pay off one of those loans with our interest and with our principal payment. And then all the interest we pay services all the other loans that we have not paid off yet. So that's kind of how that works. And public market is really the big differentiator. I'm not going to a bank. However, depending on how it's structured, banks could participate in that public offering as well. So does that kind of answer your question on kind of what the distinction is there?
Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
What's the anticipated average interest rate?
On this one, it's a little over 5%. That's assuming we get that A+ rating. So if you look in the document, in the PIR, it actually gives you an average interest rate over the time of the loan. So, and again, while the proceeds of the loan that the city benefits from is $9 million, it's important to note that the full value of the bond issuance is $9.28 million, that $280,000 being for cost of issuance. That pays for the financial advisors, that pays for the brokerage fees for the bank, and that also pays our bond counsel their money as well. So, as of right now, bond counsel, for example, is working for free until the bond issuance happens. So all the time they've put in, the documents they've produced, all the support they're providing us, if for some reason at the last second we decide not to go to market or something happens, our friends at Gilmore and Bell will have done all this work for free. So anyway, so that's part of why it's not a clean $9 million that we have to go to on that debt issuance.
Can these be paid off early if we so desire?
After 10 years. We have asked them to go and make these callable after 10 years. So the bonds that are issued, that are paid off in the first 10 years are not callable. Those we will service on the schedule. But after year 10, we have the option to begin paying those down early or paying them off early.
Okay. Any other questions? All right then, move to approve Resolution R-26-84 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples to approve Resolution R-26-84 as presented. Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
All right, the follow-on resolution, Resolution R-26-85, a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation bonds, Series 2026A of the city of Coffeyville, Kansas.
He already talked about it.
Comments? Any additional questions?
Yeah, ditto to everything I just said.
Yeah.
All right. Then I move to approve Resolution R-26-85 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Commissioner Hendricks to approve Resolution R-26-85 as presented. Mayor Faulkner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Golden.
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Let's see. When do you want to do that? Under
After the
L.
city manager.
After, okay. City manager's report. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. A few things to just go over, just a reminder, our first budget meeting tomorrow. We have that down at 5:30 here in the commission room. This will mostly be, to Mr. Kessler's point, more of the kind of the education session. We'll get into the revenues and the expenses and the debts, and looking at a higher level. You will have your budget book tomorrow that was emailed to those who still have that access this evening, but you'll have those to be able to review as well, and we'll do those, the kind of the line item further on. Again, tomorrow's more the high level, so I anticipate, barring any questions, that one will be a little bit shorter of a meeting, since we're not really diving into that line by line, because we want to make sure that, one, you have a time to go through those books, come in with Marty and myself on questions, and also understand that high level. So that's what that meeting tomorrow will be. We do also have tomorrow our trail grand opening. Amber, you want to say anything about that? Location specifically for them to meet?
So it's across from the basketball courts, where the safety bollards were installed. That's where we're going to be doing the ribbon cutting. We have somebody from CDBG that's going to be there to do a speech and, help with the grand opening, and it's at 11 o'clock tomorrow.
11 o'clock. So if you can make that, that would be excellent. It has been open for a while. Obviously, the ballards just recently were complete, and as part of that grant of that, CDBG does come down and want to participate in that. So this one, more than some of the others we've done, there's some requirements that go with that for the grants that we received. Also, Amber, it was going to be reaching out to commissioners. She would love to get any of you that are interested in tours of the house that we purchased for renovation You can go and walk through and discuss and see what the plans are, what the status is. Of course, you're welcome to do that as many times as you want, but she will be reaching out to try to schedule those with you if you're interested. Amber, do you have anything else to add to both of those that I'm missing?
Nope, you got it all.
Okay. I do have a report here. I told Commission at our last meeting I'd get this sent. I've been off for a few days since our last Commission meeting, so some of our neighborhood preservation report, our blight cases, vacant buildings, junk vehicles, yard nuisances, and grass complaints. So I have that data. I'll hand to you. Again, I know some of your emails aren't working right now. I'll hand that to you here at the end of the meeting, and we can discuss that if you'd like as well later. The next two things is we'll start with the data center. I wanted to see if commissioners had any questions. I was on the radio this morning talking about that again. We do have an information session that will be at the Boys and Girls Club, 6 p.m. on the 6th. In my press release invite, I'm inviting residents of Coffeyville and customers of Coffeyville Municipal Light and Power specifically. I believe there's a lot of people out there that are not from here that have a lot to say about it and kind of show up to town too. They may come. We're not gonna kick them out or anything, but really want to speak to those in Coffeyville because we are different than Independence or Cherryville or any of our other communities here in Montgomery County because we are already public power. And so I want to make sure that those who are coming feel like they're getting educated specifically in Coffeyville, not data centers in general. Because if I'm to go to another community and attempt to do the same thing, I would have different things to say based on that community. So this is specifically meant for those people, both residents, customers of our utility, because the things that we'll talk about affects them specifically. The other thing with data center is I did get my first proposal today. I've told you that we expected proposals to come in by the end of the month. I still expect one more to come. So no action. A proposal does not mean there's an NDA. There's nothing like that. It's just purely what they would like to do, what they envision their project being. And so the decision that we'll ask Commission for in August will be, let's say we got 7 proposals and maybe we'll just have one, but do we want to pick one of these and do we want to allow them to go and get an SPP study? The SPP, Southwest Power Pool study, will tell us and them if there is available electricity within our transmission lines, not just our lines going down into Oklahoma. And so that will tell us if there is, if there's not, what would have to be done to get that. That's all that report would do. That report will take 90 days is what we're told. There's a lot happening out there, so maybe it'll be a little bit later than that. Once we get that report back, then it's time to negotiate with a data center if Commission even wants them to be here. That's when we'll talk water, that's when we'll talk the cost of the purchase of electricity from us. So these proposals are purely, here's what we have envisioned. We'd like to go do a study and see if this is even realistic for the amount of electricity within those transmission lines. So I've tried to be very clear to our public about that. Videos, our press releases, talking at the Kent County Commission, speaking with anybody that wants to, and that invite is still out there. I've reached out to a lot of people on Facebook and said, hey, I'd love to talk to you about it, and haven't heard back from anyone on Facebook. A lot of emails, pros and cons, a lot of phone calls. That's been great, and I appreciate people that are willing to call and have a conversation so I can hear their perspective and they can hear mine. So that invite continues to be there. Sales tax. Speaking of the information that we've put out, I think we could have done better at explaining what data we were putting out there and why. So some of the graphics that Mr. Cashler brought up, the intent was not, here's what the sales tax will help us buy, but rather look at the cost for these type of departments. And so I think the fire one was maybe $42,000. That could very easily, you could say $30,000 to $50,000. There's all sorts of varying costs and prices. We typically get quotes for things. The particular radios that were discussed, yes, we did not coordinate that between those two departments. And so both fire and police use the current or the same radios today. And those are, I think I heard Mr. Castro say 1,000. I think it's more like $1,500, maybe $1,300 radios. Both of them, we have old radios. They both love to have upgrades. They've both in the past presented the higher expense radios, and they have never been approved for those. I actually have a quote on my phone from April that is the most recent quote that Fire got. I did the quick math today, and it's more like $8,300, but I think there was some extra adders on that. So the perception may be that there's some deception there. That's not the intent. The intent is, look what it takes to fund these departments. Oh, by the way, the sales tax is there then to help the really big stuff, because you can already see what the general fund has to pay for. Anything that is going to be a sales tax item, if it gets approved, and there's a dollar amount there, those are typically large purchases, and those come before commission. And so commission gets to decide, are we buying a new fire truck versus a used one? Are we buying 3 police cruisers versus 4? Are we going to spend money on radios or apparatuses or these other things? So there is a level of accountability, and ultimately the elected body that gets to choose. We are simply, as the sales tax option is saying, let's receive more funds so commission can choose what those capital items we should spend versus just directly out of that general fund. There's no intent to balloon the general fund or make it bigger or better. And of course, you'll see more of that as we sit down and start into our budget season. With that is all I have, Commissioners.
I'd like to, excuse me, kind of a follow-up comment on your discussion about data centers. There's a lot of, I'll call it emotional comments being made on Facebook and on the internet generally. And I would like the public to understand that the decision to deny or allow such a facility to be constructed on city property in the industrial center clear out at the airport will be made after extensive research, looking at other communities, looking at data, and there'll be an awful lot of research and discussion before that even comes to the commission. Then the commission will be asking a lot of really hard questions. And the decision, like I say, will be made based on the data and the scientific data that we get. It will not be made on emotional screaming on the internet. We'll be looking at the real numbers and what's going on. Then we'll be making a decision as to what's best for Coffeyville. And it will be the decision, and it will rest with this commission. So just wanted to let everybody know, no, there's a rumor out there that it's already been done and construction's already started. No, that's not happening. It's not going to. More to follow, and it will be months down the road before that decision is made. Also, hate to harp on this, but the grass is getting taller everywhere around town. Everywhere I drive around, it keeps getting. It's almost in some areas, it's almost out of control.
It is out of control. I'll say it.
And my wife, one of my biggest critics, was complaining about it, and she said, we've got to get that done. And I said, okay, what are we going to give up? Because it's not a matter of we don't have the money. We have the money, but it's not in addition to. It's got to be instead of, or we start raising rates, property taxes. You name it. The money has got to come from somewhere to pay the contractors to go mow. Yes, it's a problem, but we've got to get a handle on it, Ben. It's just, new families coming in, driving around town are gonna see what we see. And I don't like it, and I don't think there's anyone here who's, would argue that point. So what can we do?
Well, Commissioners, I think that's what we're doing. We came and said we need to try something new this year. We've got all these different irons in the fire, and so we can see it through and make decisions based on the data that we've collected. It's budget season on what you want the budget to be next year for this exact thing. And so to me, it's happening. This is as of July 15th. Staff had received 203 grass and weed complaints. 101 properties had been abated, so meaning we went out and mowed and paid for it. As of the 15th, there was an additional 47 active work orders issued for properties to be mowed, and 25 properties came into compliance voluntarily after notice. We have also, as we mentioned, we are turning this off of property tax and into collections, so it will follow individuals. It will not stay with the property. For example, a lot of these lots that have no homes on them, they're owned by people who do not live here, who do not respond to their phone calls, do not respond to the emails, and so a lot of these lots are those ones that we don't get those responses. But when it's on your property tax, so this individual bought something at tax sale for $50, realizes that they don't really have the money to take care of the property, and they just don't ever do anything. When it's tied to the property tax, this property will now go to a tax sale. Someone else will want to buy it for $50, and the history the city has done has then said, you know what, new property owner, we don't want you to have to pay the $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 on this tax bill, so we're going to go ahead and forgive that and let you start. And then guess what? It repeats and it starts over, and we never even make the revenues that we're spending to take care of the property. So by changing it to collections, we're hopeful that that's going to follow the individual now. We'll be able to collect a lot more, and all that money we can collect can go back into doing this. So I don't have to go and increase someone's trash service a couple dollars to collect money there. So we're attempting to avoid the burden, more taxes, more money from other residents to do this. But Commission, you absolutely can say, you know what, yes, let's charge folks more so we have the resources to go do that. That's an option. On the collections, why it's taking so long, we're not quite there yet. We are going back to January of 2025. So anybody since January 2025, we're switching that from off your property tax into collections and let a collections agency go and get those funds. So these things are in process. This is, some of you have only been here for 6 or 7 months. We've been working on this for nearly 2 years. We came up with a plan this year. We're implementing that plan. And what I think is we should see it through so you can have the data. You can see those who are doing it themselves. You can see what resources we can get from not going after the residents for more money to mow their neighbor's yard, but after the people who aren't doing it. Again, you absolutely have the power to make that change and to, like you said, we want to reallocate funds to go towards that. There is grass being mowed. There's also, yes, property where it is out of control. And one of the things we're not doing that we have in the past is just going yard by yard all day long, all through the grass growing season, and taking care of that as soon as they get a few inches above. We are focused on complaints. We don't wait for complaints in our high density traffic areas. We're just taking care of that. We're letting those letters go out. I mentioned, the ways that we're trying to get these people to realize that this is their responsibility, not ours and their neighbors.
So how successful have you been in like the knock and talk and talking to people and encouraging them to take care of their own property and have personal responsibility?
So the yard nuisances and trash up to July 15th, we received 169 yard nuisance complaints. 20 properties have been required abatement, so we're charging them. 53 of those property owners corrected the violations voluntarily after the knock and talk, and the rest are still in those, everything from negotiating, just casual conversation. Some people absolutely refuse and won't talk to you at all. Some people go, you're right, I'm so sorry. One of the numbers I don't have on here is we have funds available that we pull out of housing to support people that can't. If there's a legitimate concerns that they can't take care of that trash or that mowing, and so I can get you that data as well, that we're not just saying tough luck, figure it out. We're actually putting sales tax dollars into supporting that as well, on top of just sending people out. So we have never had data other than who have you forced and how much it cost, and that's part of this change this year, is to say, by doing this, what can we get accomplished? You know, blight cases, vacant buildings, the junk vehicles, the yard nuisances, and the grass are all those categories. And I'll give you this sheet where you can see numbers of people who are actually doing it themselves.
I wonder if they're doing it themselves that first time, propels them to continue to do it themselves, so you don't have to worry about them anymore.
There's a variety of those cases. Many of them are generally the same property over and over again. Sometimes we're dealing with people that are in court. Other times it's, someone's got a place here, but they only come in seasonally to work, and the person that's trying to take care of their yard hasn't been up on it. So there's a variety of those cases, but there are absolutely a chunk of those who it's repeat offenders, either because it's an out of town owner who's going to only own it for a few years from a tax sale, and it's going to go to the next
And
person.
get rid of it, yeah.
So it's a wide swath of reasons why they may or may not be doing it, and why they may or may not be able to comply.
Hey, Ben,
Okay.
how much do we pay the contractors that mow the yards?
When we put out a quote for the contractors, we initially put it out as $16 with a double mow if needed. So you'd be paying $32. And then we've had the contractor, the one contractor that volunteered to go for that price has come in a few times and said, this needs a third or a fourth mow, and we've agreed to that. So it starts at 16 for a first. If it's long enough, then it goes to a 32 and goes up from there. Most recently, our mower, our contractor has said he can't do that anymore. And so when there's no one else, you raise the price and go reach out again. So I think it's within this last week or maybe 2 weeks that price is now from 16 up at 20. Same thing, a double mow, a triple mow, and further.
Well, we almost approved $4 million today in resolutions. So I think we could afford to reallocate some funds from somewhere to make the town look better, especially for visitors, business owners, investors,
Yeah.
people coming.
Contrary to oftentimes the public's view, our money is budgeted and set aside. And so the money that is set aside for this work is out of the refuse fund, and that money the majority of that money comes in from the fee that people pay to have a trash service. So you can't dip into the $2.5 million in sales tax for streets, because you can't take that money. And that's part of what we're going to do tomorrow, and try to open that up and explain that. Yeah, if I'm sitting on 55 million, unlike my personal bank account or any of yours, I can't just dip in and go, I want to change and take this money somewhere else. We have money that can only be used in an enterprise fund unless it's a transfer. We have money that can only be used in the general fund. When it's in the general fund, it might be only for a sales tax, if it's for housing, if it's for some of these other areas. And so I can't always go in and say, I'm going to just move this money over because I have plenty. I go off of the budget that the last commission approved, and that's what we have today, and that's where we're trying to balance that, because for the last several years, we've gone over. In '24, before I got here, the directive was we want to tear down houses. Once I got here, I think we did another 30, but we spent $750,000 in tearing down houses, and an additional, I don't know if it was $40,000 or $50,000 just on the grass side. So we are way over what that budget was allotted. You're now dipping into reserves. So that's one of the things we're trying to avoid here, is going over what the budget was set for this particular kind of work. One of the other things that happened, I think it was in '25, Commissioner, we're really focused on cleaning up areas in town, especially as you come into town, that were full of the trash and the junk vehicles. And so in that year, we tried to put more money, instead of tearing down the houses, to the junk and the trash. And so grass was a little bit less there. So there is manipulation, yes, that you have power to do. Staff is following a budget to do that. You would then have to collectively appropriate money from somewhere else as long as it fits within what we're allowed to do, what you're allowed to do as well. Like I said, again, you can't take sales tax money for streets and go put it in
Right,
grass.
I understand that, but I also know that we just approved from 2 funds last meeting to the grant for Walter Johnson for the stadium at
Yes.
the park, right? For
Yeah, that
so
was.
I'm understanding of that we can reallocate it. Now, maybe not in full depth as you're speaking, but
No, because that money for Walton Park is twofold. One is for economic development, bring jobs. We're trying to bring jobs, bring money into our businesses. That's what economic development money for. The other part of that Walter Johnson money was our parks sales tax. So because we were going to spend $150,000 to upgrade Walter Johnson Park anyway, what we did is we said, let's use that as our match. We're already spending it to go and get grant money. So that's another case where that money came from a very specific place that I can't move over to cut grass with.
I'll give my quick say on this. Yeah, we see big numbers in the budget. A big chunk of that is wholesale electric or utility funds, water, different things. Agreed, it looks like big numbers, but really, when you look at expenditures for things like this, it's not. We don't have a lot of money to play with due to budget separations. Spending money for projects in town is one thing to improve the town, say tennis courts, parks, trails, things like that. This money, let's spend money to mow yards for people who won't mow their yard, to me is covering people's negligence. And I am not interested in spending a lot of money for that when they should just take care of it themselves. In an ideal world, we shouldn't even have to spend money to go mow other people's yards because they're being neglectful of it. So I would prefer to somehow force them to do it or fine them, whatever, to make them do it. They're adults. They should take care of their property if they can. They're just being lazy and neglectful about it in most cases. The cases you're talking about where somebody can't do it, just can't, different story.
And it might be that they're a renter and that's not part of their obligation. And we got to go chase down landlords.
Yeah.
Sometimes
do that,
our
but
landlords
I
don't
prefer
live
not to
here.
spend any money on taking care of other people's problems because they're just not doing what they're supposed to do. That's where I'm on that. And it leaves us money to do better things, right? That's the ideal world. We don't have to spend money on things like this. And
Well,
we go.
We've got 100+ houses we want torn down.
Exactly. If
Yeah,
we're
if
if
you're
we're going to
using
spend
it
the
to
money
mow
on
lawns, we
mowing, we're
can't
not
tear
going to
down
tear down
houses.
bad houses, which was going to be my next topic. I keep seeing houses around town along with tall grass, and some of those it's clearly they're abandoned or not being lived in, and you can see the decay month by month. A lot of times it starts with a shingle missing. That shingle becomes 2 shingles missing. Then it becomes wood exposed, and it becomes rotted, and then it's going to be our problem in 2 years. You can almost go around town and point houses and go, that's going to be on the demolished list in 2 or 3 years if somebody doesn't do something about it. And it's how do we take care of that before it becomes a demolished house? Yeah,
Again, back to
we
people
have
taking care of their own property.
exactly.
we could shift gears and same thing, about the railroad tracks with the neglect of that as a business, right? So,
Yeah.
that taxpayers definitely shouldn't have to fund
And
any part
nope.
of that.
And that's what,
So,
that's
if
right.
we're gonna get, to the nitty gritty of neglect and home ownership and business ownership and accountability and transparency, well, it should go all the way across the board, right?
Yeah.
Very much
And
like
I'm not
that.
saying that people should be exempt or dismissed from having accountability and take care of their stuff. But I do want to see the town look better. Mayor Faulkner said it. Commissioner Hendricks said it at the last meeting when I brought it up. So it's been a hot discussion up here for
Yeah.
a while.
And I have a lot of people reach out about that too. What I'm hopeful with the plan we put in place is that we can change what we've always done. These people are used to, we'll just take care of it. So if I can right now we're doing collections. We could go back. It's been a number of years. The city just used to take people right to court. That's difficult to get the money out of them too. So there's these things we can pull, but right now we got to a base of, and on both fronts. One, we mow everything. So it's a beautiful town. It's, one of the nicer ones in Montgomery County because we forced it to look really nice. But then you have a money problem. So if we can switch that, both with voluntary compliance, because before, other than a letter, we didn't talk to you. And so if you didn't get the letter, you didn't know, and we just showed up and did it. So if we can switch to, we're going to make sure, we're going to do everything we can to talk with you and explain the situation, find out if there's a need and how can we support, and then also have this different set of teeth. And all of a sudden people realize that, no, it is going to cost me $150 versus me paying $30 or doing it myself. We can see a year or two of that. We might start changing that mindset. But today, the city's going to come mow it, and I never have to pay for it because as soon as I leave this house, it's on the property tax. It doesn't follow me. So those are the things we're trying to change. But we've got to get through a year to do that. I got to be able to come back and show you the data, and then you got to determine if you feel like it's working, then we should do something different.
So maybe we just do it for this whole season. Let's finish the season and see what happens. I mean, it does look bad, but
I think
If-
we still want the big offenders taken care of as soon
We
as
do.
possible.
And I've had some people reach out to me offering to get people together to go mow. But what they thought was we were talking about city property. City property is taken care of. We're going to have to talk about that too because it costs us a lot. And do we want to continue that? We are, and I'm going to put a caveat because there's probably someone that'll point out a property that the city owned that we have in Couch. So 90+% of city property is being taken care of. And when it's not, we find out, we go do it right away. The majority of the lots that we're talking about are owned by somebody else. And so this particular person that wanted to get a whole bunch of people together, he said, would the city have any problem with that? I said, well, I don't have a problem, but each of those lots is owned by someone else. You'll have to work that out with them to go take care of this. But I would also put that on our churches and our business community and neighbors. I don't know, you use $2 of your gas and 20 minutes of your time to help take care of your neighbor. Maybe there is a really good reason. Last year, when I went out and talked to someone, they were really upset that we came in and forced a home to just mow it. And he's like, look, I take care of it. I couldn't get to it. This particular lady has cancer. She can't do it. Why did you show up and charge $150 to get this done? So I've seen the 2 years I've been here, the exact opposite that we're also trying to fight. So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of thought
can't
into
win.
this, a lot of research. I have talked to code enforcement officials all over the state and country trying to come up with what are better ways to do it. I also want to change the culture. I don't want it to be the big bad city shows up with a stick and forces me to do something. I want them to know that we're willing to have a conversation with you. Perhaps we can help, but hey, you've got to take that responsibility. So this didn't just come haphazardly because we don't want grass mowed. This came from a lot of research of trying to change the culture of how we're doing it for the benefit of everybody involved. I don't want tall grass. I don't want to drive around and see it too. And every time I do, I kind of wince. I'm like, okay, someone's going to point it out. Well, it's because they've seen something different for a number of years, but we're trying to then change the things in the background so that you still see mostly manicured yards.
Ben, real quick, did you allude to the possibility of residents being willing to volunteer to go out and cut these lots?
Yeah.
Have we put that out to the residents to see if we could get together with a resident volunteer mowing pool?
So last year, we started Coffeyville Proud for things exactly like this. A lot of the areas we were going to, the city would say, that's not really our responsibility, and residents were like, well, that's not ours either. And then there's this spat, and it's been that way for 20 years. And so
Okay.
we said, you know what, let's get volunteers. And so is it once a quarter? Once a quarter, we're bringing in 40 and 50 people also. So not only are we finding money to help people that can't, we are already bringing in
Okay.
volunteers to do this. Now,
Okay.
we haven't gone as far as let's just show up and go mow everybody's yard because it's complicated. We could get,
Yeah, can we just jump on
there's some
private
there's some,
property?
yeah, there's some liability within that. But my volunteers who keep giving us suggestions also keep bringing that up. I was specifically talking about someone separately that called in and said,
Understood.
I could come up with 5 or 10, and that was just an individual, but we don't, and this is a total personal opinion. I get that. We all have different, so my opinion is we don't need the government to tell everybody to go volunteer. We just all need to go take care of our neighbors.
I agree.
And I'd like to touch on something on that data center. You and I spoke about it briefly earlier today. In reference to the Thursday, August the 6th at 6 p.m., the Data Center Public Information Center, I believe you said it was going to be at the Boys and Girls Club. Did I understand that correctly?
Yes, the gymnasium.
In their gymnasium, it was brought to me by a very upstanding and long-term citizen, a pillar of this community, that they're unable to attend the meetings physically. How can we broadcast that out? Either, you made mention that YouTube possibly would not work because of the dynamics there. Possibly, could we get KGGF in there to cover, do a play-by-play? Is there a way we could Facebook live stream? I promised this individual I would be a proponent of that, and I am, especially if we're talking about full disclosure. Let's get full disclosure.
Yeah. Look, we've invited the press. This is such a hot topic. I think they're going to come regardless. Today, I had Montgomery County Action Council ask if they could blast this to the whole county, invite everybody. I said yes, but my concern was we're going to be different than what everybody else hears. And so the media just needs to know, too, that there's a caveat with what you're going to hear Coffeyville talk about, because we are public power. Any of them are welcome to come and do that.
It's awful short notice, but CCC does have an AV program, possibly for the future meetings. We could maybe get them involved as well.
Yeah, the other thing I'm going to do is, for those that can't make it or still want to know and don't want to show up, because it might be too exciting for people, I'm going to do some more videos. I'm going to hit the high points. I've wanted to wait so I can... If I just do that, everybody's going to have their response. I want to be able to have a forum where they can come back and say, well, I don't like your point, Ben, and here's what we think. But so I've been waiting to put out videos just myself on here's where we believe the positives are and where we should make sure to consider this before we just say no. So I'll put out more videos as well. Absolutely, we'd be open to any of the media wanting to take that information and share it. And if, I'm sure they're all listening now, they're welcome to reach out to me and we can figure out how to coordinate that. My other big concern is we're going to make this so big. I've got about 130 chairs available here. So we're leaving this room because I only have 30 or 40, and I'm taking the chairs that we have. Boys and Girls Club has about 30, and we've got maybe 120 over at Ron Stevenson building that won't be used. We're going to cart those over. So more than 150 people come, there might be some people standing in the back. I don't know, maybe because I've been talking about this for 2 years and a lot for the last 2 months, I don't have any earth-shattering things to share. I have very basic principles that answer the main concerns. There's, a top 4 or 5. What is this going to do to my electric bill? What does this do from an environmental standpoint? What does this do from a water standpoint? Environmental can be the noise pollution. There's just some of those key areas. I'm going to point those out. I'm going to tell people that want to hear that this is not a decision tomorrow. This is a decision in August to do a study to then decide if we want to. So we're still a few months out. And I want to show people that we don't have NDAs. We're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to be as open as...
Could you say that again? We don't.
We don't have NDAs?
We don't have NDAs.
No, unless you've signed one, I don't know.
No, sir.
Okay. No. Yeah. So this is just that opportunity. So that meeting, for all I know, with everything I have to share, I could talk for a long time. I've talked about this for an hour straight to someone, but really we could boil this down to 15 or 20 minutes so people don't have to sit there and listen to data centers for 3 hours.
Sure.
So there's no earth-shattering revelation that is going to come in that information session. It's going to be a lot of what, if anybody's listening to the radio, reading our Facebook page, listening to me at the county commission meeting, you're going to hear the same things.
Perfect. Thank you very much for addressing that.
In addition to grass, things that grow, there's a lot of trees down around town. Dead limbs hanging halfway out, getting ready to fall on sidewalks or out in the street. I believe on Fifth Street, there's a tree, looks like a major tree that's been uprooted in the storm, is laying on the parking.
Oh, where was
Is there
that?
anything we can do
I think
about?
that, if you're, is the one by Holy Name?
Yes,
I think it's just on the sidewalk. I don't think it's on a driveway.
okay. But there, I've noticed there are a lot of, there's limbs and trees down all over town. Is there anything we can do about that? Or is that, again,
Personal
well-
responsibility.
responsibility of the owner?
Well, it's
Where
it's
do
a
we-
loaded question, and I'm trying to be careful before I go
Well,
and
the
respond.
question
So
is-
if it's your tree, it is your responsibility. When your tree falls into like across the street, sometimes we're able to just scoop it up and get it out of the way. Oftentimes, we cut it up and push it back onto your property, and you have to take care of it. We have a tree dump. People are welcome to bring their stuff out there. We talked about Sycamore Creek last year, right? Commission decided that we would take a vested interest because it was affecting a lot of people up and down that creek, but all of that wood came from people's yards or people's trees that they didn't, clean up and get taken out of there. So
can we
the
do
particulars,
knock and talk for trees down?
yeah, if I had to guess, we do that.
We do knock and talks, and then if we don't make progress and they don't do anything, we put them in an abatement packet. So we have an abatement packet that's due on the 5th of August, that has about 20 lots that have major trees down.
Because those are ordinances about what you're supposed to take with your trees in your yard. So when it's again, there's a variety of situations. So if there's something that's impeding residents in general, we really need to know about that so we can, public safety, those sort of things. So please, reach out to myself, anybody at home listening. We've got the ways to report, incidents, concerns, abatements needed online. We're watching that stuff daily.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay,
Questions?
on a positive note, I keep getting good positive comments about the tennis courts and pickleball courts being
Oh, yeah.
used, and somebody even asked, when are 2 or 4 more pickleball courts going to be constructed in maybe another part of town?
We quit mowing grass, maybe we can put one in.
I'm just kidding. But point was,
I'm joking. I'm
they're
joking.
popular.
They're
It was a
popular.
good
They're
project. They're more popular than I thought they would be. I knew they would be popular.
There's people waiting for the
but-
pickleball
In
courts.
constant use.
Yeah,
But
it's
they're
great.
more popular than
We had several
anticipated.
people right there at the end before we approved it that said, you really should consider not just tennis and do pickleball. So for those 3 or 4 or 5 people, thank you, because the people that are there are overwhelmingly for the pickleball.
I've heard people say they're coming down from Independence and other towns just to play pickleball at our courts because they're so good.
Anyway.
All right.
All right.
I got a couple things. I had an anonymous report. I always got a couple things at the end, right? I had an anonymous report yesterday, and I came to talk to you, Ben, today, but I missed you. About the county commissioners are actively trying to close the tag office here. I did reach out to Commissioner Cordray, and he said that they are looking at the operational cost of it here. Nothing said, but they're doing their budget too.
Yep.
But they are looking at the operational cost to see if they're still going to operate it.
Yes, I've heard that too.
They already charge an extra fee just to have it here to us and not to people in Independence.
Yeah, oh boy, these things can get me in trouble. I'm just going to say it. Part of me wants to laugh because I've watched Facebook over the last several weeks, and I've been in county commission meetings, and everybody is screaming cut costs. And when the commission shows up to cut something, then a portion of that population now needs to scream about that too. So, what the county commission is going to do, I don't know. They have budget control for the treasurer's office and tag office, but they don't have operational control. And so Mandy has to be considered in all of that as well. Now, if they take that budget away, that one's a little bit more complicated than what we have here. That being said, we did reach out and mention that I believe, although the county has most of the floor upstairs, I believe there's a section that they're not utilizing. And so if they wanted to lower some operational costs from that building they don't pay us rent, they just pay us utilities here. So that may be a way to lower some costs, and you can bring them to this building. We're absolutely open to supporting and helping that. We obviously want that level of service in our community as well. But this is the premise of everything we're even talking about tonight. We can't have all of the services and no way to pay for them. Those got to be leveled out, and that's everything that we're talking about.
I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in trouble. I think it's disingenuous for the county commissioners to talk about cutting costs when they then turn around and authorize exorbitant salary increases for county staff. There, I said it.
Okay.
You're not responding.
I could respond, but that's the county, not here. I think most people, when you go and will actually pay attention to those numbers and see, you'll see that it's not as exorbitant as you think. And if you go and start paying attention to the cities and the communities around us, one, you get what you pay for. You know, we almost had no lifeguards last year because you could go to a restaurant and make more money than doing that. And so we had to make adjustments there. That's every position we have. At our electric utility, they get pirated often to go work at CVR or CRNF or those other places. If you want good employees, you have to be competitive. So, yeah, there's a lot of comments about that online, about the exorbitant, what they're paying people. And unfortunately, most of those people have not really spent time to go and figure out, is that exorbitant or is that an honest and true salary for people that work here locally trying to get jobs done? So I'm obviously representing 240 odd at the peak season and 190 odd at the off season. And so I'm going to vouch for them as well and say those people need to be paid what they can get anywhere else. And that if you want good services done, you got to pay those people. I think the county could absolutely go and start doing some cuts there if they'd like. And you'll get the services to match that. And just like this commission could do this here, or any commission could do that in other communities. But I'm a little fed up with Facebook right now because there are so many people spitting out data and facts that they don't even have and haven't spent the time. We have the same problem here. People don't show up to our meetings. We have a sales tax happening. What do we have? 3 or 4 people today that came to listen to our fire chief, our police chief, our hospital CEO. They didn't want to come and listen about what that money is for. So people need to get off their keisters, come out and be a part of it. Don't be just a consuming society, and be part of it and be part of the solution. Maybe they do need to cut that. Come be part of it as opposed to screaming on Facebook and creating facts I don't even think exist yet. Come be a part of it. Come here and be part of it. Thank you to the people here. Mr. Kassler, thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts. That's what we need in our community, and we've forgotten. We've forgotten that. We can get on social media, I'm guilty of it too, and complain about things and not come and participate in your community. Thank you to those who ran and who came up here. That's what we need. Come and participate. We asked for 100 volunteers, not volunteers, we put out letters and requests for people to come to a community survey or a community workshop. We had about 60 people that were able to come. There's dozens and dozens more invited. So it's a shame. We all have the problem. I'm guilty of it too. We're all very busy. But I'm sick of the Facebook facts because most of the time they're not the facts. You didn't ask for that. I apologize.
Ben, that was a great segue, Ben, because my bride and I had the luxury this morning of going over to the fire department to do the meet and greet with the police chief and the fire chief, and Brian from the hospital was there, and EMS staff were there, and we got a chance to talk about a bunch of good things. What interested me is when it almost felt like we were walking to a used car sales lot, like everybody just collided on us, and we're like, what's going on? Well, we were only their second, and this was at about 9:30, that we were only their second interested parties that showed up. So I would like to remind those watching at home, tomorrow evening at our firehouse, it is an open house. And it is from, you can stop by, tour a police vehicle, explore a fire truck, see an ambulance up close, ask questions, and learn more about police, fire, and EMS. Enjoy a cup of coffee while visiting with your public safety team. That was today at 8:30 till 10:30 p.m. Again tomorrow evening, Wednesday, from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. for those that were working or couldn't make it. I highly encourage the public to go out and meet these people and see what it is they have to offer our community. So, good segue.
All right, now may I speak?
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. What you were talking about, I mean, I took my day off work to go to this meeting yesterday. It was good. It was very good. We learned a lot, and I have to say, we had a gentleman that got up and spoke about the negativity in Coffeyville and how he's been here for 30 years. And the negativity that's just pervasive in Coffeyville is horrible. We have so many good things happening in Coffeyville that are going on, that are changing, that are improving, that are better than they were even 5 years ago. And we don't even talk about that because we are so negative. And it kind of burns me because this is a great town. I don't think we realize what we have and what we have that so many other towns don't. And when he spoke about that, I was like, go for it. I was very impressed that we just don't enhance the positivity that we have in Coffeyville.
Any other comments?
Yes, I have more comments. I get to talk for once in a while. So,
Go right ahead.
our budget, because that's such a fun topic. We have, and I'm going to talk about, one of the positives that we have is a fabulous wastewater treatment plant and a water. I was talking to Marty. I said, we've spent a lot of money to keep our water clean, to keep it safe, to keep it good for our citizens to drink. And a lot of people say, well, water's terrible, the water's terrible. No, we have good water. And an example, we spent $51,528.35 for water treatment expenses in this pay period alone, plus water sampling by KDHE to make sure our water is clean of $97,476.76 for water sampling. We have good water in Coffeyville, and people don't appreciate that. And I'm not going to go over all of this stuff. Our $4 million to GRDA. We spend a lot of money of your money, of taxpayer money, to keep Coffeyville going, and we do a good job, and we want to keep people safe. We want to keep people happy. We want you at all times to be able to flip a light switch and turn your lights on. You don't, to turn your faucet on and have good, clean drinking water, and we have that in Coffeyville. Now I'm off my soapbox. Now you can talk. Anybody else can talk.
Thank you. Any other comments before we get to the Coffeyville payment reports?
I got one more.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I got
I'm done.
one more.
Yes, one more.
Ben, has ICE, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, been going door to door over the last month in to that Hispanic community?
I cannot tell you how many times ICE comes. They come when they want. I know at least within the last 45 days of them being here at least once. It's one of the things we've talked about from the beginning is the benefits of the agreement is the level of what they do won't be as strong as if we're not agreeing, but that they're still a federal agency and can do whatever they like. Typically, when they've come and that I've known about it, they are bringing warrants that they already have and they are looking for people. So I don't know anything about ICE going door to door checking citizenship. I do know they come with warrants looking for people, and they come when they want, not because we call them.
Yeah, because I know when I talked to you about the 287G a few months back, You said that was supposed to try to hopefully kind of deter them from coming and letting the local law enforcement
Yes.
when they actually broke the law or committed a crime, right?
Yes. Yep. And that's what we hope continues, that they see that we're willing to be partners when people break the law and notify them. But like all federal agencies, they will just show up and do what they're going to do. But I think we can go look at other communities in Kansas where they're taking a more active approach because those agreements aren't in place.
You know that's hurting our local economy, right?
Having ICE show up?
And having the Hispanic not spending money into it and not working and getting deported, and that's one less worker.
Yeah, that's a federal thing. That's nothing I can control.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments before Vice Mayor gives the payment report?
I've given the payment report. I remember I just said that.
That was it. All right.
That's it.
All
We
right.
spent a lot of money on
All right.
stuff to take care of all of our citizens, not just a few.
In that case, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Maples to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.